should be disenfranchised.
It's not a performative contradiction. It's the point of democracy.
No, it's
that we should be represented by a representative government.
I need you to understand this logically.
She's not understanding the conversation, guys.
It makes sense logically because it's a logical fallacy. You were arguing a logical fallacy.
No, what's the fallacy?
The fallacy is that you're trying to essentially stop stupid people from voting by making sure that less people can vote.
That's not a logical fallacy.
Well, you didn't let me finish the sentence.
Okay.
You're trying to stop stupid people from voting by making it so that less people can vote, which is in turn taking away the power of the voter.
What's the fallacy?
Well, you're trying to empower voters by taking away voters' power.
How is that a logical fallacy?
You can't empower voters.
So that's a new one. I didn't know that the Dutch had the majority of the votes. I mean, I didn't know that. There you go. That's something new, I guess. I didn't know that.
By taking away their power.
How am I trying to empower voters? What are you talking about?
The whole point is that you're trying to combat tribalism and that you want smart people's votes to not be nullified by stupid voters.
What does that have to do with empowering voters?
I thought that's why you're against NGOs, lobbyists, bribes. You want to empower the people.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So you just don't want the country
I don't even know what you're talking about. What I'm saying to you is that if you want to eliminate tribalism, you don't want to have nothing but an unlimited amount of people voting where NGOs can mark to the stupid people and bend them to their will and now have that entire bracket for whatever it is their political agendas are.
So again, why not just get rid of NGOs? Oh my God, NGOs are a problem.
Let's make
sure less people can vote.
I'd never thought of that. Why don't we get rid of NGOs, the people who are utilizing tribalism so that they exist? Boy, I wish I had thought of that.
You're utilizing tribalism?
No, they're utilizing tribalism so they exist.
Okay, but you're a political pundit. You have the power to help people. Why not promote a stance that is actually useful to them instead of trying to take away their vote?
Great. A stance that would be actually useful to them would be having their well-informed votes not nullified by non-well-informed voters of what you believe and I believe are more than the well-informed voters. That's exactly something I can do to help everybody.
But you're not helping everyone because stupid people still live here.
So what?
They still have a right to exist in a society.
Who's taking away their right to exist in a society? Nobody.
Yes, you are, because if they are still held accountable to the same laws, but now have no right or vote or say in who is enacting those laws and who is representing them in government.
Like 17-year-olds?
Final statement.
They're children.
I was literally thinking the same thing. Like younger folks, I mean, at what point we have to just argue if 17 or 16 years old should have the right to vote? Because it seems like the way she's trying to frame this is like even teenagers should have the right to vote at this point. I don't know. I might be wrong. I might be listening. I might be hearing this wrong, guys. Let me know.
They don't pay taxes.
Final statement is like her position is a contradiction. She says everybody should be able to vote inside of a country where they are governed by the laws. The problem is that then she says all sorts of people who fall into the criteria of being supported by laws shouldn't be able to vote. It's literally a performative contradiction. Then she moves to my view and agrees with my view that mostly that stupid
Remember, I don't know if you guys saw one of my last videos. I talk about negative body language, how a lot of these females, they use negative body language. This is a good example. You see, Andrew is just talking to her directly, and she's just talking with Brian, moving around, drinking the water to the side, almost at a 90 degrees angle. It's a negative body language tendency. They do this to make sure they can derail you. It's very disingenuous, guys.
People outnumber smart voters, and when you're talking about ill-informed voters, that NGOs often take advantage of them, or I mean, always take advantage of them. She literally agrees with all of this, but somehow still thinks it's a better idea to allow this to continue because I don't know. She never really gave an argument for that. I don't really actually know why.
My turn?
Yeah, you can respond.
Okay. I mean, I get that you don't understand why, and I get that you don't understand my argument, and I'm sorry. I hope one day you do. But what I will say is, generally, yes, it's annoying that stupid people are allowed to vote, even though they sometimes make poor choices and fight against their own self-interest. Yes, we don't like that. Yes, we don't agree. We do agree that lobbyists and NGOs have way too much power in setting precedents for laws. Those
know
are
what she's
both
doing
things
now.
that we mutually agree upon. However, I do not think that it is fair to create a limited democracy that in turn disenfranchises voters on the basis of being stupid. I don't think that there is any way to practically enact that. I don't understand why we would do
You
that.
could enact
I
it with a
think that-
constitutional convention. That's how you would do it.
You're right. Yo, Andrew, you might break this person's brain, man. You might break her brain, man. You don't talk about the constitutional convention. She'll be like, she will explode, bro. I don't even think she know what the hell is that.
And you don't think that the millions of people who now have lost the right to vote they'd be like, okay.
Well, they wouldn't have a choice.
I mean, sure. Protests, riots, there's all sorts of ways that people have fought against a government. I mean, would you, like, you're basically trying to call the country's bluff on whether or not they care about having the right to vote, which I think is just stupid. I think personally it's pointless, and I think that the function of a democracy is to make sure that everyone who has to abide by these laws is represented in government. Is that flawed? Yes.
That's not even
But the
true.
way,
Like, that's
are you
not-
going to let me finish? Did I interrupt
Let's let
you?
her finish, then we're moving
Oh,
on.
we're moving on.
We're going to
Okay.
move
Yeah.
on. So finish
Sorry.
your thing, then we're going to move
Okay,
on.
so anyway, back to my statement. Yes, this government is flawed. Yes, NGOs have too much power. Yes, it's annoying when stupid people do stupid things. But at the same time, the right to vote is a human right under a representative democracy in the United States of America.
But why? We're missing. I don't know why, guys. Isn't me? Why is that the case, though? Why is that the case? Why? Why is the case, and why we think about it like this? I might be missing something here, but I think at this point that question has not been answered, guys.
To take that away from voters is not the answer to creating a more educated voting body. Like, just genuinely, it's just not.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We have a couple chats that are going to come through. Guys, if you want to...
I don't trust people that make the against their own self-interest argument. I think they're lying. What do you mean? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Interact with the stream, the show, the debaters. $200
Elaborate
TTS.
a little bit more on that.
And also, if you're enjoying the stream, kindly like the video. If you want to support Venmo, Cash App, whatever pod without these platforms taking their cut, we're also live on twitch.tv/whatever if you want to drop us a follow on the Prime sub. Also, we have some merch, shop.whatever.com, discord.gg/whatever. We have a message here from one moment here.
He paid $99 to send a message?
Yeah, we have this one coming in from Peacecraft. Oh, the audio's muted. Or actually, it's not muted. I'm not sure why that's not coming through. I'll just
Rick
read
James,
it. I have a
bitch.
question for Rick James. If you hadn't eaten breakfast this morning, how would you feel? I think that's for you.
Yeah.
How would you feel if you hadn't?
How would you feel if you hadn't eaten breakfast this morning?
I don't. Just how would I feel?
Yeah.
Hungry, probably.
Okay. All right. And we have a message here from Jason Cassell. Related to
You passed the
military
test,
stuff.
guys.
Thank you, Jason.
Jason Castle donated
He passed the test.
$200.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Her boyfriend is an ASVAB waiver. You can't get someone else to take the test. You have to be verified with ID, fingerprints, birth certificate, SS,
There
etc.
you go.
So you take it during MEPS.
There we go. There we go. And this is why you don't do this, right? That's why you're virtual signaling. I personally think when you do virtual signaling, you have to drop a little bit of the lie. I'm not saying that he lied, but most of the time that's how it's approached. If you virtual signal, you have to draw a little bit of the lie. Tax the rich, feed the poor until there are poor no more. What? That makes no sense.
Thank you, Jason, for that
That's
message.
how I
think they're saying
remember it. I
Waco.
remember taking it during MEPS.
You have to come
In
up
your
with something
singular
better.
year
That
in
made
the
no
Army.
sense.
How did you get off with 1 year?
Well, people get hurt.
Oh, that sucks.
That's what happens.
You didn't go back?
We have Red Fox here. In the military, 19 years and run MEPS. All applicants take an IQ test. It is called the ASVAB, and we take significant steps to catch fraud. The armed services, on average.
Well, I agree that there can be stupid people who are there. I'm just saying that there are standards which are in place. That's one. And two, I
There you go.
remember specifically taking it when I was in MEPS. So
So how hard would this IQ test be for voters on your whole
Well,
like,
I didn't really
5-year plan.
advocate for an IQ test. It would just be, you would just be looking for like if somebody was going to enter into service that they had at least the IQ capacity to do it, so they weren't like mentally retarded.
Well, I mean, isn't the whole point that we're trying to prevent stupid people from voting? That's your whole.
No, uninformed voters from voting.
You are the one saying, she's the one saying stupid people, but reality is uninformed voter. I would say, what do you guys think? A test that if you're above 90, 93 IQ, you can pass? Let me know. Yeah, I agree.
How does
empathy is a
community
double-edged
service-
sword. Yeah. How that say goes? You go through the. Oh man, I forgot the saying. It goes like, fuck. I forgot. It's about the doors of hell. I forgot the saying. With empathy, you go through the doors of hell, something like that. I forgot the saying that goes like, with good intention. I think it's good intention. You open the doors of hell with good intention, something like that. I mean, empathy should not be like a moving forward kind of approach to things. You have to be practical always, right? You have to be very practical to move forward through things. I think that's how the saying goes. I don't know.
Well, so again, what you keep doing is conflating like 4 different things when I say here's all of our possible options.
Yeah.
Right. And then you're like, well, there's problems with this one. I agree. There's problems within the confines of each of these, but there's some that you just straight up reject and give no arguments for. Like, why is it that we can't just eliminate it from 18 to 35? If you can't be president of the United States until you're 35, seems feasible that you can't vote.
Yeah, there you go. The road to hell is paved with good intention. There you go. Yep. Yeah, that is so true, man. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. 100%.
Until you're 35.
Well, if the laws still apply to you between 18 to 35.
Yeah, so then your objection's not even to the system. Your objection is actually just still what your argument is.
That's another one. That's very good. It is easier to pass a camel through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get into heaven. Yeah, that's a good one.
Which is a contradiction.
But what's to prevent?
have to
Hold
move
on.
on.
Question.
Okay.
Pause. But what's to
Okay,
prevent?
final thing.
Can a person over 35 be an uninformed voter? Yes or no?
Yes, but it's going to be way less regular than people who are younger
How
than
are you
that.
proving that?
Just because if we look at the people who turn out to vote, right, within these demographics, right, it's much less than the older demographics. And when they're polled, the people in older demographics know much more about the issues than the people in the younger demographics.
Yep, that's true.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. My grandma gets all her news from Facebook.
We have a message here, Manny Fresh. Question for Naima. Did I say it right? Oh my God, Naima. Okay, just
My grandma gets all her news from Facebook. Well, she might be smarter than you. I'm just saying. Like a lot of these people, guys, if you're standing up and just watching news, man, you will end up in a bad state. You end up poor. You end up, freaked out. You end up with your brain rotten, guys. I mean, the thing about independent journalists, they really created a path to get closer to the truth. Not completely to the truth, but at least closer to the truth. However, the news media or the mainstream media, what it was doing was basically putting a smokescreen of what the truth was, or even close to the truth.
question. Has she ever actually studied Plato's Ship of State? What's an actually intellectual philosophical counterpoint against this biggest issue with socialism and communism? Also, why are you dating your oppressor? What? Typical, okay.
I'm good.
Feminist?
Let's.
No response
No
there?
thanks.
Okay.
I'm
All right,
sorry.
guys, if you want to get a message in, we're going to do $200 TTS. We let a couple below the threshold just come through there. Why don't we bring it back to feminism, Andrew? Force doctrine,
Yeah,
I
I'd
believe,
like
is
to do
where you
force doctrine.
left off.
Thank you.
So
Oh
There
my
we
God.
go.
Yeah, we're fine with that. But if she takes it down a rabbit hole, then we have to go down the rabbit hole. So here's my argument. Let's start with defining these terms. Can we do that?
Sure. Yes.
So I define feminism, okay, as being a movement towards egalitarianism or equity, okay, with the stated goal of diminishing and eventually destroying patriarchal systems.
Sure.
That seems to be fairly historically accurate and modernly accurate.
Yes. Movement towards equity, goal of eliminating patriarchal systems?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take it.
Okay, so when I say the word going forward enforcer, what I mean by that word is people who utilize inside of society some form of force